this is Monday night Vinyasa flow yoga. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm obviously subbing for Autumn tonight. She lost her kitty cat today, and she's very sad, and she's just not in a place right now to emotionally give to anybody else. So let's keep her in our thoughts this evening and hold a little space for her. So I'm going to have everybody come to just a comfortable seated position. And if you need to put like a pillow or maybe a folded up blanket, anything under your hips to kind of lift you up so you'll be comfortable, we're going to be sitting here for a couple of minutes. And then I want you to get nice and long through this middle part of your body. As you lift up through your chest, you'll notice you make extra room for your breath. You can really start to expand your diaphragm more. And I invite you to close your eyes or look softly at the floor. And I want to just take a couple of minutes for us to pull ourselves out of our day, out of our heads, out of our to-do list, and dedicate ourselves for this next hour solely to our practice. Connecting to our bodies and our hearts, our higher selves. So as you breathe in, if it feels comfortable, breathe in via the nose. Your nose is your natural filtration system. And notice how your diaphragm expands in every direction. It doesn't just lift up in the front of your body. If you pay attention, it circles all around this area, all the way from the front to the back. My new catchphrase at the moment, I totally stole it from another yoga teacher, is instead of referring to it as your rib cage, it's your rib basket. And I really like how the visual this creates. When we think of a cage, we think of something restrictive. But really, this whole area through the center of our body has lots of room for expansion. So really start to view it that way as you breathe in. Feel the expansion all the way around. We're going to be here just for a few more breaths. And as you inhale, see if you can get a little longer through the body. As you exhale, see if you can root yourself down a little further into your mat, into the earth. And all the while, all those thoughts, all that swirling chaos you might have entered this practice with, just let it start to flow down the top of your head. No force, no effort, just with ease, it loosens its grip. One more big breath in and out. If your eyes are closed, softly start to open your eyes. And on your next inhale, circle your shoulders up and around to your ears. And on your exhale, firmly pull them down your back. Again, inhale, circle up. Exhale, walk the shoulders down the back. 2 more times. And then on your next inhale, arms sweep overhead, spine lengthens. Exhale, drop the right hand to the floor, extend the left arm overhead. See if you can gently rotate the left side of your chest up towards the ceiling and get that left side of the body a little longer. Maybe the left hip drops towards the floor a little more. One more big breath here. On your next inhale, lengthen up, get long. Exhale, drop to the left. Rotate open towards the ceiling. Drop the right hip down. One more big breath here. And slowly unwind. We're going to come all the way into tabletop. So in tabletop, your hands are positioned under your shoulders and your knees are either directly under your hips, or try playing around with the position a little bit. Maybe you slide them a little bit behind your hips. And this is going to create a little bit of extra room for your cat and cow. And then as you inhale, I really want you to focus on the movement of your spine. A lot of times we just tend to move this lower part of our back up and down. Instead, as you inhale, start by dropping this lower part of the back down, but then see if you can have the rest of the spine follow until you get all the way to your neck and you slightly tilt the chin up as you press the chest forward. And then as you exhale, we're going to reverse that. So start by rounding through the shoulders, rounding through the middle back until we come all the way to the tailbone. And start to move with your own breath. So we're not just limiting this movement to the lower back, which is what sometimes happens. Instead, we're moving that whole spine. Couple more breaths here, just with your own timing. Really tune into your breath. Remember, in yoga, your teacher is merely a guide. We're here to offer you suggestions to keep you grounded, to keep you safe. But ultimately, your body is your teacher. Your intuition is. One more, and come to a neutral spine. Okay, we're going to start to shift our weight into our left knee. And then just drop this right toe back. And then look down at your left hip and see if it automatically jutted out to the left. And see if you can pull that left hip back in where it's centered over the left knee. And you'll notice right away you've got to engage your core. You've got to pull in your belly button to accomplish this. And that really should be the theme of every practice. Checking in with your core, making sure you're engaging your core. So with that hip centered over the left knee, belly button pulled in nice and tight, we're going to let that right leg float up. Take a nice deep breath here, point the toes down and press the heel back like you're trying to push it against an invisible wall behind you. All the while the belly button's engaged. And then maybe that left arm floats out. Okay, exhale the left arm down. Drop the right foot behind the left side of the body and rotate to look back over the left shoulder at that right foot. Kind of push that right hip down. Inch the right side of the rib cage or the rib basket up and see if you can create a little bit more length on that right side. Next, inhale, right leg floats up and exhale down. We're going to shift our weight to the other side. So as you start to kick these left toes back, check in with the right hip. See if you're loading all your weight into this right hip. Pull it in and get it lined up right over the right knee. Engage the belly button and left leg floats up. Check in with the hip again. Engage the core. See if your weight's evenly distributed in both hands. Flex the foot, press that left heel back, and then let the right arm float up. Exhale the right arm down and cross the leg behind the right side of the body. Turn and look over the right shoulder. Nudge the left hip down. Nudge the left rib cage up. Create length. Check back in with your hands. See if your weight's evenly distributed in both hands. And then inhale, left leg up. Exhale, come down to tabletop. Okay, start to curl the toes under, and then we're going to lift the knees up just a couple inches off the floor. Let's come back to the core. So I want you to visualize those two hip bones. Think of a point on each hip bone, and then a third point at your belly button, and pull those 3 points together. Really start to engage your core. And then as you start to send your hips back, see if you can keep that straight line in your back. You might even want to reach back and physically feel. If you're tight in your hamstrings, what happens a lot of times is that as soon as we straighten our legs in down dog, our back starts to round to compensate. So if you can't get your back nice and long, bend your knees until you can. And this is one of the actual benefits about doing this over the computer is you have a camera. You have insight. I know I've realized all kinds of things. Like I have the sloppiest plank ever, and I never realized it until I got on camera. So yeah, you use this. Find the silver lining. Look at the camera. See if your back is straight. If it's not, try bending the knees. Pull the rib cage in. Spread the fingers wide. Press down through the pointer fingers and the thumbs. Let the head hang long. So we've got all this effort we're putting forth in this down dog, but at the same time, we're finding ease. We're relaxing our neck, our faces. We're breathing deeply. And then take a slow, slow walk. One little baby step at a time towards your hands. And we'll all meet at the front of our mats in standing forward fold. So in standing forward fold, make sure your weight is evenly distributed in the fronts and the backs of your feet. You want a soft little bend in your knees. Head hangs long. Really use the weight of your head. You know, when we're upright, we have this big old like 8 or 10 pound bowling ball head on the top of our spindly little neck. And it creates all this discomfort. But when we're in these inversions, we can use it. If you really utilize the weight of the head, you can elongate the neck and relax some of that tension. One more breath here. And then inhale up halfway. Long spine. Don't crane up in the chin. Your neck is an extension of your spine. You want a nice straight spine. Exhale, fold down. As you inhale, soft knees, rooted feet all the way up to a standing position. And exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, we're going to come into our mountain pose. So feet are hip distance apart, shoulders rolled open. If you rotate the hands open, you'll notice this really helps you expand through the chest. Knees are soft. Go back to those 3 points in the core, 2 at the hips, 1 at the belly button. Chin is slightly pointed towards the center of your chest, so you're not lifting up too much on your chin. From here, we're going to inhale up, and we're going to exhale, fold forward. Inhale up halfway. And exhale, fold down, step back into a plank. Okay, so from here, you can come down on your knees if you need to, but we're going to lift up through our chest And notice how as soon as you lift your chest forward, it's going to roll your shoulders back and down. Find those 3 points at your core, 2 at the hip bones, 1 at the belly button. Pull them in tight. Press the heels into an invisible wall behind you. And then slowly lower down. Hands are on either side of your chest as we press the tops of your feet into the mat. As we inhale, our elbows point straight back, shoulders are rolled straight down for cobra, and exhale down. 2 more times. Inhale, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back and down, and exhale down. 1 more time. Inhale up. Exhale, fold down, press all the way back and come into puppy pose. So walk the arms out nice and long. Arms are active. And we're just bringing our hips about halfway back. So after you've walked your hands as far forward as you can, try and roll your shoulders back and down. You should feel a nice stretch through the shoulders. 1 more big breath here. On your next inhale, shift forward into tabletop, curl the toes under, come back into down dog. Big breath in down dog. Hands are spread wide. Next inhale, center the left foot, right leg floats up. And then step the right foot all the way in between the hands. Bring the left knee down. And inhale the arms up. If it doesn't feel good to have the arms overhead, bring your hands to your thigh. Big inhale here. Lengthen the spine as you exhale. Pull the arms open for cactus. Again, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, nice and strong. Shoulders are pulled down the back. 1 more time. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up, and this time we're going to drop the left hand to the left side of the mat, and right arm floats up. One more big breath here. And then if your body feels ready for all this, curl the left toes under and lift the hip up. Okay, so from here, you can step directly into down dog, or if you want to step the right foot on top of the left foot, come into side plank, and then shift to down dog. Depends on how hard you want to work tonight. Big breath. Relax the neck. Next inhale, center the right foot, left foot floats up. Exhale, step the left foot all the way through, right knee comes down. Inhale the arms up. Full breath here. Next inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, open up into cactus. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cactus. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale the arms up, and then right hand drops to the right side of the mat. Left arm opens up. Couple breaths here. Next inhale, if you feel ready, curl the right toes under and come up off the back knee. So from here, again, you can step right back into down dog or Step that left leg on top of the right leg for side plank, and then come into down dog. One more big breath. And then float forward into plank. And slowly lower down. Again, we're going to go into cobra. So hands are at the side of the chest. I really like cobra because I feel like it's a really good strengthening pose that really helps give you an easy back bend. But if this doesn't feel good, just come into Sphinx. So hands are on either side of the chest. Make sure you're not shifting all your weight into your hands. As you inhale up, most of the effort is coming from the middle back. You should be able to kind of move your hands around a little bit. And exhale down. Again, inhale up. And exhale down. One more time, inhale up. And exhale down. Press up into tabletop. Curl the toes under, down dog. Couple breaths in down dog. And then jump or step to the front of your mat. We're going to be here in standing forward fold for a couple of breaths. So really find your version that makes you feel good. You can grab opposite elbows and sway side to side. You can slide your hands under your toes. Tune in to that body's intuition. And again, use the weight of your head to lengthen your neck. One more big breath in and out. Next inhale, slide the hands up to the shins, come up halfway, soft knees. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, reverse swan dive up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, we're gonna stay upright for a few minutes and work on some balancing poses. Oops, hold on here. There's my balancing. Okay, so we're gonna start with tree pose. This, to me, is like one of the foundational balance poses in yoga. If you ever are in a yoga class where they're doing some kind of crazy balance pose that you just don't feel comfortable doing, it doesn't feel safe, go into tree. That's always a nice go-to balance pose. So we're going to start by really rooting our weight into our right foot. And I always suggest that people try closing their eyes when they go into tree. It's going to challenge your balance, but more than anything, it's really going to give you insight into your body and what's going on. But obviously, it's completely optional. You can always open your eyes anytime you need to. So start by really rooting down through all 5 toes on the right foot and the heel. Envision that the arch of the foot is like a suction cup. And so you're really rooted in this foot. But at the same time, you've got a soft knee. You're not locked out in the knee. Pull that right hip in. Make sure you're not loading it. Just like when we were in tabletop. Pull the right hip in. Find those 3 points. Engage. And that's going to help that hip stay pulled in if you're engaged through your core. Remember, everything comes back to your core in yoga. Open the arms up. And then start to rotate that left knee out. Now it gets a little harder to not load into that right hip as you start to really shift your weight into the right foot. And you're going to a degree, but always fight against it. Always try and keep pulling in that right hip over and over again. And engaging the core, again, it's what's really going to do it. And from here, maybe you spread your branches wide, roll your shoulders back and down, lift the chest. Keep opening up that left knee. That open is so much more important than how high up you can get your foot. Check in with your core. soon as you stop paying attention, it just wants to relax. And then see how slowly you can come out of it and how long you can wait before you start to move that right leg. Because it's like you just want to, oh, you just want to move it. It feels so tense. You just want to shake it out. But just pay attention to all those sensations and then shake it out. Okay, other side. Shift your weight into the left foot. Again, you can always close your eyes to tune in a little bit more. Press through all 5 toes, down through the heel. The arch is like a little suction cup. Pull in on the left hip. Keep the left knee soft. Engage the core. Open the right knee out. Start to slide it up. Keep checking in with the hip and the core. And maybe you spread your branches. Lift your chest. Engage your core. Make sure all those balancing joints are soft. We're willow trees. We want to be able to bend and sway. Good. Couple more seconds. And then slowly come out of it. Pay attention to the sensations in the left leg. And then shake it out. Okay, so you can come right back to tree pose, or if you want to just move through this balance, just kind of sequence with me. But again, just really listen to your body. If you struggle with balance, please just stick with tree pose. Keep working on it. Otherwise, shift your weight into your right foot, and start to pull up with the left knee. Grab your hands behind the knee. As you inhale, extend the leg out. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you grab the big toe with the peace fingers and see if you can open up. And maybe from here, you see if you can weave that knee under the arm and come into dancer, or please listen to your body. Maybe just go into tree pose. And slowly come down. Other side, shift into your left foot. Inhale the leg up. Get nice and long. Extend the leg out. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you grab the big toe with the peace fingers and open up. And maybe from here, you weave the knee under the arm and come into dancer. And slowly come up. Good. Big inhale up. Grab the right wrist with the left hand and exhale to the left. Inhale tall. Right hand catches the left wrist. Exhale to the right. Inhale long. And then we exhale, fold down. Inhale up halfway. And exhale, fold down. Step back into down dog. Couple big breaths in down dog. And on the next inhale, step the right foot forward. We're going to get nice and solid in our pose. Don't be afraid to use your leg to walk your hands up. Or if you feel nice and solid through your core, we're going to inhale up into crescent. Inhale nice and long. Lift through the chest as you exhale. See if you can deepen a little bit more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen. Pull those shoulders back and down. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe get a little deeper. And then we're going to open the back arm and the back foot up for warrior two. I'm going to turn the other way so you guys can see me better. So in warrior two, chest is lifted, right knee is open. Same thing here. As you inhale, lengthen. See if you can reach those arms longer in each direction. Exhale, deepen. Inhale, lengthen. Lift up through the chest to lengthen the spine. And exhale, deepen. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And then drop the right arm on the right side. Extend the left arm overhead. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you reach that left arm across. You don't want to do this though if you find yourself really rounded down. You want a nice straight line. See how much length you can create all the way from that left ankle to the left wrist. One more breath here. Good. And then inhale, come up straight. Walk the toes forward. So we're in this wide-legged stance with feet parallel. Maybe even just a little pigeon-toed. Turn the big toes in slightly and press the outsides of the feet together. That's really going to protect the knees. Bring your hands to your hips, and with soft knees and a flat back, you're going to hinge forward and come down halfway, flat back. Lift up through the chest. So let me get here so you guys can see. Look how flat my back is. This is how flat you want your back. And then maybe you extend your arms out if you feel supported. And then exhale, fold down. And maybe your peace fingers wrap around your big toes. Or maybe they come to your shins or the floor or a piece of furniture. Let the head hang long. One more breath. And then bring your hands to your hips, soft bend in your knees. Strong core, engage your glutes to propel you back up to standing. And then we're going to open up for crescent on the other side. So open your right toes, left toes open. And then you lift up on the right heel to come into crescent on the other side. So basically do crescent on the other side. Good. As you inhale, lengthen through your spine. As you exhale, deepen. Again, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen. Roll the shoulders back and down. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen and hold. And then open up that back arm, the back foot for warrior two on the other side. Make sure you can see that big toe on the inside of the left knee. As you inhale, lengthen the arms in either direction. As you exhale, maybe you sink a little deeper. Inhale, lift up through the chest to lengthen the spine. And exhale, deepen. One more time. Inhale, find a little bit more length somewhere. Exhale, find a little bit more depth. And then drop this left forearm to the left thigh. Inhale the right arm up. Stay here. Extend the right arm over the ear. Make sure you've got a nice straight line. Couple more breaths here. And then windmill the hands all the way down to the floor. Step back into down dog. One more big breath and down dog. And then we're going to shift forward into a plank. And exhale, lower down. Okay, so I've been doing bow a lot lately, and it's something I resisted for years because it always felt so super uncomfortable to me. And I think that there's three different kinds of people in this world. There's people who love bow, and the other two are two categories of people who hate bow. One category hates bow just because they need to work on it. The other category hates bow because it's not right for them. So if you fall into one of those two latter categories, you have to figure out if it's uncomfortable just because you need to work through it, or if you truly feel like you're compromising something in your body. So what I want to start by doing is a little bit of a hip opener and an option that you can always go back to if bow just doesn't feel right in the wrong way. So start to come to your left side. And this is just a very simple stretch. If you've done any kind of aerobics classes or anything, you've done this before. You're just going to grab this top foot and pull the heel back towards your behind. So from here, you're going to try and even up your knees, and then you're going to squeeze your behind to press this top hip open. And if you just do that, if you squeeze this whole back chain and press your hip open, you're getting so much of the benefit of bow, and you would have to try really hard to injure yourself doing it this way. So this can always be your go-to. If anybody ever suggests bow and it just truly does not feel right for you. So let's go ahead and do the other side. Just roll over, grab the other side. You guys can see it from this angle. So I'm pulling my heel back towards my behind, and then I'm squeezing my behind on the top so that I'm engaging this whole back side, and that allows me to really push this left hip open. Good. Okay, so that's your option for bow. Like always, if you decide bow is just not right for you in any yoga class ever, that's what you can do, and you'll still get a lot out of it. And then you can always come into half bow. So in half bow, you grab one foot. We'll start with our right foot just so we're on the same side. See, I'm propped up on my left arm. You grab your right foot, and then you're going to push the top of your right foot into your right hand to lift that foot up. So see how you're getting the same effect as when you're on your side, but it's not so passive. You're having to work a little bit harder for it here. Okay, and release. Other side, same thing. So bend your left leg, and then press that left foot into the left hand. And as you press the foot into the hand, it helps you just kind of lift up on that leg. So half bow is nice in between. That's a good option. So full bow, and there's so many benefits to full bow if you find that this is accessible to you. So when you go into full bow, you want to, when you just grabbed your feet, you probably noticed one side was harder to grab than the other. That's the side you want to grab first because you've got the most movement, you've got the most ability to move. So grab one foot in the other, and then you're going to walk your knees together where they're about hip distance apart. And this is the biggest thing people tend to do wrong in bow, is as soon as they come up, they want to flare their knees really wide. So try and keep your knees hip distance. You're going to start to push, apply some pressure from your feet into your palms, and you'll notice right away this kind of gives you a little bit of a lift, and then just see how far you can lift up. And you can kind of use your feet to kind of open your chest, squeeze your behind, keep your knees together, and try to breathe. For me, that's the most uncomfortable part about bow, is it almost feels kind of suffocating. One more breath, and then lower down. Okay, so to do the counter pose for this, we are going to come up really slow because that's a pretty intense back bend. So just really gently push up and slowly come into child's pose. Okay, so while we're in child's pose, I'm going to tell you why I've been forcing myself to do bow and why, if it feels like it's not dangerous for you, you should force yourself. It is really, it opens up every part of our body that we tend to get closed off from too much sitting. It opens up our chest and our shoulders, the whole front side of our body. It puts us into that nice back bend that we don't get enough of. We sit kind of rounded in every position all day. And at the same time, you can feel it really, you have to put forth effort in the back part of your body too. So it really is one of the best poses to keep us open up and tall and regal our whole lives, as long as it doesn't feel like you're injuring yourself. One more breath here. And come into tabletop. Let's do 3 cat and cows just because it feels right. And come all the way to a seated position. Okay, so we're gonna come into a boat. So in a boat, your hands scoop behind your knees to start with. And the reason we're doing that is because we're gonna use this leverage from our legs to really lift up through the chest. If you see people doing boat like this, or if you're guilty of doing boat like this, you're doing yourself a disservice, because keeping this lift in the chest, and as you roll your shoulders back and down, you'll feel that engagement in the back. That's the benefit of boat. That's where you want to be. So you can start to kind of come off your tippy toes and see if you can keep that lift. And then maybe you loosen your grip. Maybe you don't even let go of your leg. Maybe you loosen your grip and you see if you can still keep that lift through the chest and keep the shoulders engaged down the back. And then maybe from there you bring your arms out to the side. Maybe you play around with straightening legs, but the whole time you're keeping that straight back and lifted chest. And breathe. Go back to those 3 points at the hip bones and the belly button. Pull those 3 points in. That's your core. That is the root. That's the foundation of every yoga pose other than corpse pose. One more breath here. And we're going to slowly lower down. So sit up nice and tall. Arms are activated. Shoulders are rolled back and down. Start to scoop out the belly. Tuck the tailbone as you roll down. Maybe find a shaky spot and kind of pause there for a second and embrace the shake. And then lower all the way down. Bring the feet flat on the floor, about hip distance apart and about 8 to 12 inches from the hips. So you don't want to walk the knees in real tight. And press down through the feet and the arms. Tilt the pelvis up. Engage the core and press the hips towards the sky. If it feels good, you can walk the shoulders together and interlace the hands. Check in with the knees. Make sure they're not flaring. They should be hip distance apart. One more big breath here. And slowly lower down. Okay, start to pull the knees into the chest. Roll up and down until you come all the way to a seated position. Okay, so I'm not going to try and get you into pigeon any fancy way. We're going to do pigeon, okay? So for a lot of people, going into pigeon from down dog can actually help you get into it better. So if you find that kind of setting yourself up and then stepping through is a more effective way, then that may work. But otherwise, if you want to just kind of cock your left leg to the side and then roll on the top of your right leg and fold down without me there to adjust you, the biggest rule is no pain. Okay, don't worry if this is pointed exactly that way or this is open or what. Just, it shouldn't hurt. It should feel good. And breathe. So this is the time we start kind of winding down, maybe turning inward a little bit more. And when we're trying to open our hips, that's a really good time to do it, because our hips, especially females, but everybody, our hips seem so tied to our emotions, our hips and our bellies. So this is a good time to really start to release stuff, or at least soften it. There might be something you're not ready to release. It might be too big. It might be too relevant. But just start to soften. Soften your belly. Soften your hips. Soften your face. Soften your attitude. Soften everything. And breathe. Two more breaths here. On your next inhale, rise up on both hands. And you can either just stay tall here and walk that right leg back a little bit more, or if it feels good, we are at the portion of your practice where everything should just feel good, then you can bend that right foot and grab it with your left hand and open the hip. But again, this isn't a time for effort and doing stuff that's going to make you feel tense and hold your breath. This is a time to soften. One more breath. And release. Step back into tabletop. Okay, so before we go to the other side, we're going to inhale the right arm up, and we're going to exhale, thread it under the left arm and drop down on the right shoulder and the right side of the head. You can stay here, or you can extend the left arm long and maybe even inch that left hand over to the right corner of the mat. And slowly walk it back. Press back up into tabletop. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale, thread the left arm under. Maybe that right hand walks out, and maybe it stays there, maybe it walks to the left. One more breath. And slide the right hand back. Press up into tabletop. Transition to pigeon on the other side. Any way that feels right. Getting nice and long through the spine. Fold down. Remember, the one rule is no pain. No pain. In addition to it being risky, you can't fully relax. You can't, especially your hips. If you are tight, if you're tensed up because it hurts, you will never release anything. So soften. Two more big breaths. See if there's one more little thing you can breathe a little deeper into and soften. And on your next inhale, come up on both hands. So again, maybe you stay here and just inch that left leg back a little bit more to open up the hip. Or if it feels right, you bend the left leg and grab that foot with the right arm. One more big breath. And slowly release. Step back into tabletop. 2 more cat and cows. Really move with your breath. Listen to your body. Maybe your body wants to move in a completely different direction. I really like rib circles. I think anytime I'm in cat and cow, I want to go exactly the opposite way that we're supposed to go. Just do what feels right. And then when you're ready, we're going to transition onto our backs. And we're going to rest just briefly in waterfall pose. So I find that if I put my hands or even a block under my hips, or you could even rest them up against the wall. But usually if I just put my hands under my hips, this helps me just kind of make it an effortless pose where I'm not really working to hold them up there. And this is just a good way to give your heart a little bit of a break, redirecting the flow of blood, assist your lymphatic system. One more big breath here. You can roll out your feet, maybe even shake out your legs, kind of help your body out a little bit. And then grab your right foot in your right hand, left foot in your left hand. Open the knees and the feet for happy baby. If this isn't accessible, grab your legs behind your knees. And then slowly release your legs long. Let your arms fall out to the side and make your way into your final relaxation. Or pick any other relaxing, restorative pose. It doesn't have to be corpse pose. So as you settle into Shavasana, I would like to briefly read you a poem that I find very timely, and then I will give you a couple minutes of peace, just your breath. It's called Allow by Dana Falls. There is no controlling life. Try corralling a lightning bolt containing a tornado. Dam a stream and it will create a new channel. Resist the tide and it will sweep you off your feet. Allow and grace will carry you to a higher ground. The only safety lies in letting it all in, the wild and the weak, fear, fantasies, failures, and success. When loss rips off the doors of the heart, or sadness veils your vision with despair, practice becomes simply bearing the truth. And the choice to let go of your known way of being, the whole world is revealed to your new eyes. Soften just a little more. Soften your head and your mind. Soften your throat and your heart. Perhaps turn your palms open and soften and open to the possibilities of life, your growth, your evolution. In these moments, tune into your body's intuition and see what you need. Perhaps another moment of stillness, or maybe a big stretch. Maybe you want to curl up in a ball on your side. Or another wonderful thing about doing this in your home is you can stay where you are as long as you want. If you feel ready and would like to join me in a seated position, you can do so now. I invite you to join me in 3 deep breaths to close our practice. As we inhale, we open our throats, we open our hearts, we look up to the sky. And we exhale and gather everything good to heart center. Inhale. And thank you for allowing me to be part of your practice. Namaste.